everyone, and welcome to day 2 of getting stuck in China. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I did a story time about how I got stuck in China. If you want to watch it, day 1 is linked below, and yeah, this is going to be day 2, what we got up to being stuck in China. Alright, so let's just assume that you have seen day 1. So day 2 rolls around after a long night of kind of restless sleep, waking up wondering like, where am I? Oh, that's right, I'm in China. It wasn't so bad. So I got up, had a shower, went down. We were meeting Juliana for breakfast, my mum Juliana and I. So we sat down and discussed, okay, we're in China today, what are we gonna do? And we were very lucky because Juliana was actually on her way home, supposed to stop in Guangzhou for 6 hours. So she had actually already researched things to do. So we're like, sweet, let's just do that. Which was super handy. And my mum, if you're watching this, she was smart and she thought, just in case something happens in China, let's get out some yen. So she actually already had money, and it was just like, thank goodness, because we had a whole day there. So we decided, first of all, where we were staying, there was a mall literally like straight across the street. We head over to this mall, and as soon as we got outside of the building, actually, it was just like that heat wave hit us again, and that smell, and it was just like, oh yes, we are in China. But anyway, we headed across the street to this mall, and I was very excited because I've only ever been to like New Zealand malls or Australian mall, and it's just like they're the same thing. And so I was excited, like, what is in China? So yeah, we got around this mall and we're looking at the clothes, and they were just so cool. Like, I really liked them. So I'll show you some clips. So we go into like so many different stores, and they all have clothes with like little badges or little like patches that get sewn on. And what else was really interesting for me was that their customer service is so different from us. Like, when you go into a shop, the store people, as soon as they see you, they like gun for you, and they're like, hi, how are you? They all spoke English, which was really good. Well, actually no, not all of them, but a lot of them spoke English. But when you go in the shop, and as soon as you like touch an item, they are there, like right next to you, like, I can put it in the changing room for you now. And I'm like, no, I'm just looking. And I'd go look at something else, and she's like, do you want to put it in the changing room? I was like, no, I have no money. And I'd go somewhere else, and she was like, do you want me to put it in the changing room for you? I was like, no. So, and I hate saying no, and I felt rude, even though I wasn't. I was literally just looking because I was so interested in the clothing. I had to leave the shops, and then when we were walking around the mall, like, I would have to literally like look in from a distance and see if there was anything I thought looked really cool, and then like bolt in, have a look, bolt out, because I didn't want someone following me. But yeah, so we were in that mall for like an hour until we found a supermarket, and I was like, oh my goodness, yes, like I want to see what's in their supermarket. So I'll just roll a little clip of some of the stuff that was in the supermarket. So I wanted to see their like little bins that they have, because over here it's like mainly nuts and lollies and like dried fruit and stuff, but there I think it's the same thing but like different types of fruit, and it looked like flowers, and I don't even know what it was, but they had really cool fruit. And their meat, I wanted to see what their meat was like. They had a meat section that was like open, and it had like chicken drumsticks, chicken wings, and chicken feet, and it was literally like you just grab it out and put it in a bag, and I was like, that's not very sanitary. But then again, there was a guy right next to it drilling into the ground, no gloves on, no earmuffs or anything like that. So I was like, okay, health and safety doesn't exist here. But I mean, that was fine. But it was just so cool to see how different it was. And then we got we ended up just getting some drinks and stuff like that. But yeah, so we headed back to our hotel after that because we needed to have lunch. It was the exact same menu as what we had for dinner. We had our little cards that would say, yes, I've got a voucher for lunch, and it was the same menu. I think there were like 4 items that we could actually pick from. But yeah, so we had some lunch, and then it got to the exciting time of going to a temple, and I was so excited for this. So pretty much Juliana knew a good temple to go to. There was actually 2 that we went to, but so yeah, the first one anyway, we had to get a taxi. So we walk out of the hotel and there's a taxi waiting. We're like, sweet, let's get that taxi. The taxis, let me just start off by saying they abused us, but we had no other choice, because every time we got in a taxi that day, we must have gone 4 or 5 taxis, no one used a meter. They're like, here's some white people, not being racist, but here's some white females, they don't know how much stuff costs, they don't know what they're doing here, they're clearly lost, let's just charge them whatever we want and take them somewhere. And it wasn't even expensive. Like the taxi to get to the temple from the place was like 30 yen, which again I think is like 5 New Zealand dollars. So it's way cheaper than New Zealand. So even if it's way more than what we should have paid, it was $5 compared to like New Zealand where you'd pay 30 New Zealand dollars. So that was okay. But anyway, so yeah, we get to, oh, actually back on the taxis, they were driving on the wrong side of the road when there was too much traffic. They were just like, there was heaps of traffic, and I guess because they charge us a fixed rate, they're like, let's just get there really fast. So they would drive onto the wrong side of the road, like head all the way up the road and like turn at the lights. And for me, they would be like red traffic lights and everyone would still be going. So I'm like, clearly I don't understand how these traffic lights work. But anyway, we made it to the temple and it was so beautiful. I cannot even explain it, so let me show you a montage. Wasn't that cool? I just want to go back and just sit there and just like listen to it. And it would be nice if it was fresh air though. But what was also interesting is like we were in that temple, and I don't know if I'll show the clip now actually, but in a few places like you'd have this beautiful temple and then you'd look up and there's just these like really rundown houses, and it was just so like, I just don't know what the word is for it, but like eye-opening to see like we're in this beautiful temple and then there's just these old run-down houses or apartments right next to it, and then you've got brand new apartments being built. I don't get the new apartments, I don't think, but like these brand new apartments being built, and then there's these really old ones, and it was just like, I don't know, I don't know how to explain it, but it was just really, I don't know, it made me feel something, I don't know. But yeah, what happened after that? Okay, so we found out that there was another temple nearby. By the way, these temples to go in were 5 yen, which is like 1 New Zealand dollar, if that, I don't know, which is so cool. So yeah, we walked to this other temple because they said it's just up the road, and we're walking around, this time we're walking around the streets of Guangzhou. Like we went through alleyways, and like I was too scared to film at some points because everyone would stare at us. And I was just like, I feel like we're in their territory and we shouldn't be here. Like I just felt so uncomfortable. So I was just like, camera down, like let's walk around. And oh, what else was really interesting was that in New Zealand, most of our cabling is under the ground. Whereas in where we were anyway, it was just like you'd walk past all these shops and just all the cabling is out in the open. Like nothing is hidden. It was just like, you could just get like bolt bits of cables running across the front of the shops, and it was just like, oh my goodness. And so many of the shops we walked past all were selling copper wiring, which was weird. Like we went past at least 20 minimum shops that were selling copper wiring, and so apparently that's something really popular where we were. I don't know why, but anyway. So we eventually get to this other temple, which is like tucked in the way of nowhere. And it was really cool too. So here's, I don't have as many clips for this one, but here's a few clips of this temple. yeah, so another cool temple. It had this really cool tower at the start, which you would have seen. It was hard to get a shot of it because the sun was right above it, so it just kept going dark. But anyway, just as we were about to leave, there was this guy, and we asked him how to get somewhere. Oh, there was a park we were going to, and this guy spoke full English. It was amazing. He was actually just visiting his family, and he's been living in the States, so he spoke English really well, and he was the one who told us about the taxis. He's like, make sure they use a meter, and we were like, damn. So anyway, we go out of this place because he told us where the park was and how to get there and how much it should cost. So when we got in the next taxi, we were like, I think he said 40, and I was like, no, 20. And he was like, okay, 20. And I was like, oh my gosh, like we could have been doing that the whole time. But anyway, we get to this really cool park, and it's like the history of Guangzhou is in that park. And unfortunately all the signs were in Chinese, so I didn't understand any of it, but we're like, let's go around anyway and just explore it for ourselves. So we're walking around, and like it was just a really pretty park, put simply. There were weird little quirky things in between the trees, and there was a whole lot of bamboo at one point, and I actually took a second look at it, and I noticed that there's writing or carving in it. So I don't know what it says, but it just looked really cool. And then yeah, at this stage it was like 36 degrees or something. I don't know, I have a clip of it somewhere with the temperature, so you would have seen that at some point. But there was this other like temple within the park that you could go to, but I think you had to pay, and we were running out of time at this stage. Oh, also, by the way, my whole trip I was on Snapchat, so if you guys don't have me on Snapchat, you guys missed out on stuff that I didn't film with my vlog camera. So make sure that you add me on Snapchat. I'll put my little thing here so you can pause it, get a photo of it. It's JessChillinAbout if you can't take a photo of it. But yeah, anyway, so we walk around this park, and then there was just like this massive wall, like the wall of a castle pretty much, and I've never seen anything like that that's real. And so I was just like, I put my hand on this wall, and I was like, this wall is like, I don't know how old, but like at least 100 plus, maybe hundreds of years old. And I'm just like, it was massive, like it was meters and meters and meters tall, and it had like the little, you know how castles have that shape thing, it was like that, and it was just really cool. And there were little puppies in the park, and yeah, then we were walking in the park, and then all of a sudden it just opens up to this massive stadium, and I was just like, what the heck, like where did this come from? But yeah, so we're walking around, and it was just really pretty. We ended up walking up this huge set of stairs, which was fine to get to this like cool bit on the top of a hill. I don't really know what it was, until we realized that we needed to go, like we were running out of time. It was 4 p.m. by this stage, so we go back down the stairs, but further than where we came from, only to realize that they were doing construction and we couldn't go out that way. So we then had to go back up the stairs, and oh my gosh, like my calves were on fire. And then we had to find our way out of this park, and eventually we did. It was so hard to find a taxi at this stage, so we did find one, and they just wouldn't budge on price, and we're like, we don't care, we've got to go. So I mean, it wasn't much, it was like $7 New Zealand or something like that, so it wasn't too bad. I hope I haven't missed anything. Let me just check. Okay, no, haven't missed anything. So we get back to the hotel at like between 4:30 and 5 by the time we'd made it out of the park. So we had to pack up, get our luggage ready. We had dinner, which again was the exact same menu. My mum, she was getting so angry with it. She's like, why don't they have any other food, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, mum, chill. So mum, chill. But yeah, so 8 o'clock comes. That's the time that we'd organised to go back to the airport. It had been a really cool day, a really hot day. Also, when we got ready, when we got back, we all had showers, because it was just like, you could just feel the air on you, if that makes sense. Like it was just so thick that you just felt like it was on you. So it was like, we definitely had showers. We get changed, we get on this bus or shuttle back to the airport, and we'd also met 2 other people, a mum and a son, who had their exact same flights cancelled, except they were coming from Australia. So we get back to the airport, all is going well. Then we get to the airport and things they took a turn.